Well, folks, you may have seen this podcast. It's called the Whatever Podcast, and it features a couple of guys talking to a bevy of young women about myriad topics of interest. It's provided some pretty juicy comic and social fodder. We'll get to that in just a moment. This video is sponsored by ExpressVPN.
If she's going out, it's a deal breaker for me.
Huge red flag.
That for me, it's a deal breaker.
I totally agree.
Why is that a deal breaker? Is it because it makes you insecure?
It has nothing to do with insecurity. This is a dream world hypothetical scenario. Girls really don't be hitting up guys like this. Would you be okay with your long-term monogamous partner going to a nightclub, bar, or party type environment where throughout the course of the night, he's going to get approached, flirted with, and sexually pursued by numerous attractive women, some of which are more attractive than you and could potentially be a better partner than you, and these women are buying him drinks, getting him drunk, and enthusiastically want to sleep with him that night and steal him away from you? You're going to tell me you'd be okay with that?
No, not with that.
Here's the rule. What's happened societally is that there was, in fact, a double standard for men and women. And the double standard, in some cases, is justified because men are different than women. Not every double standard is justified. Many are not. Some double standards are justified because men, particularly with regard to sex, are very different than women in terms of what they want, in terms of what they are pursuing, in terms of what it means to them. However, what we have now done is we have basically reversed this so that the double standard now applies counter-logically in many of these circumstances. So, again, there was supposed to be no double standard, right? But you can see the double standard still applies, just reversed. So men would say, listen, I don't want my girlfriend going to clubs all the time, but I want to go to clubs all the time. And women say, that's not fair. That's not okay. Either we all go to clubs or nobody goes to clubs.
I believe in magic!
And so as a social conservative, I'm on the side of nobody goes to clubs. But if you're going to hold the standard that everybody goes to clubs, you can't then complain about your boyfriend going to clubs while saying that you get to go to clubs. And this is supposed to be some sort of fairness. It makes no sense, obviously.
Who controls access to sex, men or women?
Women. Yeah, woman. Woman, obviously.
Yeah, so I would say hookup culture, if we want to see hookup culture stop, because women kind of control when sex happens, so do you have anyone to blame but yourselves on that one? You know, thoughts? Okay, yeah. Okay, so...
Yeah, that's deafening silence. That is correct. By the way, that's obviously true. It is obviously true that if you wish to have a less promiscuous society, and if you wish for people to hook up less, that the people who are, unless you're assuming that men are aggressively raping or sexually abusing women, then if women are the gatekeepers, then yes, I mean, there is some responsibility. In fact, the majority of the responsibility that is going to lie with women to make those decisions. And look, the general rule of human life, things you're not allowed to say anymore, general rule of human life. When it comes to sex, women need a reason. Men just need a time and a place.
Women have been oppressed since the beginning of time.
How?
And it's natural.
How?
Are you really? How?
Yeah, go ahead.
How? You're
the one
asking
saying
me
this is
how?
true. Yes.
No, women were oppressed in history, but so were men. It's
How?
not. It's not.
Not as much as women
See, now
were.
this is interesting because if I say how were women oppressed, you're like, well, it's self-evident, Brian. I shouldn't have to educate you. Yet you've just asked me the same question. Shouldn't you know?
No, because that wasn't taught in school.
Ah, so isn't that interesting? Male oppression was never taught in school. Female's oppression was. Isn't that interesting? So who's really oppressed then?
Oh my God, Brian.
Perhaps you don't even believe men are oppressed.
Don't, to be honest.
You don't?
Yeah.
Now, again, they're sort of speaking two different languages here, right? He is saying that an enormous amount, in fact, the majority of oppression that has happened in human history has been men oppressing other men, which is really true. I mean, if you're talking about war or if you're talking about enslavement, which disproportionately fell on young males, then yes, I mean, men are disproportionately oppressed. What she is talking about is presumably the idea that men are more powerful in society than women for thousands of years, which is a different form of oppression. But the point that he's making more generally is that all human beings have been oppressed by other human beings over the course of time. And so if you want to talk about a specific type of oppression, maybe you ought to get specifics, and then we can talk about, you know, what oppression looks like, or whether what you're just talking about are sexual differences that are natural. Because there are many women nowadays who will say that marriage is oppression, which is the stupidest concept known to man.
Marriage is what brings us together
today.
considering that marriage disproportionately benefits women.
Would you describe yourself as a feminist?
Yes.
Do you believe in gender equality?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so how do you reconcile believing in gender equality, but also holding men to their traditional gender roles of paying for the first date?
Well, I'm just saying that's my personal view. A woman being a feminist is just doing whatever you want to do and not being bashed by society for that. And obviously, standing up for women's rights and stuff like that. But
this is the
my
most
main
obnoxious
concern
thing
with
I've ever
gender
experienced in my life.
equality is through yes, in society, fixing that, and through the system. But yeah, I don't. Oh my God.
Yes, you mean that in your personal life you don't actually believe any of the things that you purport to believe, and that what women actually want is men who act like men? And they actually like many of the gender differences between men and women? And that all of the male feminists in the world can't get a date because women don't want to date them?
Today I feel gay.
Because they are losers and women are not interested in that? And they're not interested in that because that is not good procreative material? We'll get to more on this in just 1 second. First, I want to talk to you about DailyWire's most trusted privacy partner and premier sponsor of my show, ExpressVPN. When you use the restroom, you always close the door behind you, correct? Right, don't you? Of course you do. You don't want strangers looking in on you. That'd be weird. What if I told you using the internet without ExpressVPN, well, it's like leaving the door wide open when you go to the bathroom. Your ISP knows every single website you visit. They can sell that information to ad companies and tech giants who use it to target you. ExpressVPN puts a stop to all of that by creating a secure encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet, so your online activity can't be seen by anyone. I use ExpressVPN on all my devices, phones, laptops, even Wi-Fi routers. ExpressVPN, it's as easy as closing that bathroom door, which you should be doing. Just fire up the app, click one button, you're protected. It's no wonder ExpressVPN is the world's #1 rated VPN by Mashable, The Verge, and countless others. If, like me, you believe your online activity is your business, get the VPN I trust at expressvpn.com/BenYT. Use my exclusive link, expressvpn.com/BenYT. Get an extra 3 months for free. That's expressvpn.com/BenYT. expressvpn.com/BenYT.
You know what God said? It said he made them man and women. He made them man and women.
He actually said man, women, and
gay.
them.
I'll pass on that. Thanks, though.
So.
No, he said God created man, male and female created he them.
Stating
So them. So there's them. They thems.
No, the them refers to the men and the women.
Oh man. Oh God. Oh man.
No, but he
man
said
is the
them,
gender
so
neutral
it's
word.
like they, them.
He's referring to both of them.
But he said them, so he's like saying man created men and women in them. So he.
No, he said in the beginning God created man, both male and female created he them.
Them.
These are the
Them.
types
So
of man.
While other countries
Right.
are planning
Male and
to
female.
invade us with debating they, them, the whole thing.
When you refer to multiple people, you say them, right?
Or you could be referring to they, thems.
It's English.
They, thems don't exist. I hate to break it to
I've
you.
met some. It's crazy. You
You've
wouldn't
met
believe me.
very confused men and sometimes very confused women.
Oh, I hate to agree with my enemy Michael Knowles, but yes. By the way, in the Hebrew, it's Zachar u'nekeva bara otam. Yes, it's referring to the men and the women. It doesn't say he created male and female and them. It doesn't say that. I know. I can read Hebrew.
So you expect the girl to be
the
loyal
most-
to you before on the first date?
That is probably the most attractive thing a girl could do.
But it's not
Is saying,
reciprocated.
I'm not seeing other guys right now. I'm just talking to you. That is probably the most attractive thing a girl could do or say.
That's
I
not
can
value
guarantee
in
you that
his
on a
eyes.
first
True.
date. I can guarantee you that on a third. But I mean, on the first day, I'm still feeling it out.
Why? But why, though? It is amazing to watch single women who are not married and presumably not in long-term relationships talking about their successful dating strategies. Always fascinating to watch. You know, it's a really good way to find a monogamous partner is to date people who are dating monogamously. Isn't that amazing? Then maybe you should, date the person you're dating and not 7 other people at the same time, because that's a dumb strategy for actually achieving a monogamous partnership, if that is what you actually seek.
It's always going to affect my life. I can't take off my skin color. As a black woman, prejudices that exist against me don't exist against you, Brian. And that's why you can't be racist against a white person. So I'm sorry if you feel offended, but you are white, and me calling you white boy isn't exactly racist.
I mean, you are addressing me by my skin color. I consider
Your
it a
skin
bit.
color will never lead to the, premature murder of yourself. I don't know.
I would actually point out one thing to you. Me as a white man, I'm the only male at this table here. There are more white men killed by police officers than women of any race combined.
I mean, then why aren't you mad? Why don't you hate police too?
Because I realize that police are a necessary function of society. Without police, it would be chaos. We need police officers.
I mean, I think that's really easy to say as you, once again, I'll reiterate, a white person. And again, that's not to be racist.
The intersectional hierarchy strikes again. So if I have been discriminated against on the basis of my skin color, I can now discriminate against whomever I please. This is why you should not judge people based on quote-unquote status. Okay, status is cultic. When people say that I'm going to judge you based on your status, what they mean is that you have sort of a cult status in a hierarchy and that we can now adjudicate whether your actions are right or wrong based on your status in the hierarchy. That's almost a paganistic conception of what justice looks like. The justice is the same for everybody. If you are a black person who's racist against a white person, it doesn't make it less racist just because you have a quote-unquote different status. You're still being a racist.
I'm bending over backwards to not be racist right now.
This is ridiculous, but this is what we've now established, is that if you are a person in a non-power status in the hierarchy, then I guess you can be just as much of a terrible bigot as you want to be.
I've dated women who are doctors, I've dated attorneys, I've dated pharmacists, I've dated more nurses than I can count. Women's careers, to me, don't make them more attractive. Like, I'm not more attracted to a girl, oh, you're a doctor. Whereas I think a lot of women, a doctor would be a catch.
My wife is a doctor.
I don't give a if a woman's a doctor. I'll date a barista. I'll date a girl that works at Chick-fil-A because men and women are looking for different things. There's not always symmetry in what we find attractive. From a dating point of view, I'm not more attracted to a girl because of her career or because of her status or because of her earning potential.
I mean, sociologically speaking, he's exactly right. I mean, the sociological data proves this out. That women are definitely looking, when they get married, for earning potential and whether the man can provide for them.
I caught you a delicious bass.
Just a fact of life. And men typically do not. Now, can it be like a marginal increase in terms of attractiveness if a woman is doing a career that you find to be very cool? Like, obviously, my wife is a doctor, but that was not what made me love my wife. In fact, she didn't know she wanted to be a doctor when I met her. She became a doctor after. That was more a symptom of the fact that she's very smart. I found her intelligence very attractive. And then it turns out she wanted to be a doctor. Again, men and women are, in fact, pursuing very, very different things. Now, with that said, it happens to be the case that people tend to marry people of similar IQ. So the lie that men marry women who are of a different IQ bracket or women marry men of a different IQ bracket, that actually is not true. There's a fair bit of intelligence sorting when it comes to marriage. Like does actually tend to marry like.
I think body count matters, so
I don't know if that's entirely misogynistic, but that's kind of unpleasant to hear, that men's value is somehow based in other things.
We all make judgments, whether you guys want to admit it or not. We all make judgment calls when it comes to potential partners. In the same way, like most of you just said, like, I want to date a guy who's taller than me. That is a numerical measurement. You're making a value call, so to speak, based off of a guy's height. The fact of the matter is, a guy who's shorter than you could be a fantastic partner, loving, loyal, great person. But it happens to be you might not be attracted to men who are of a smaller stature than you.
I think I'm going to stay silent. I don't want to promote further discussion. Thank you.
I don't want to promote further discussion is always a great way of doing discussion. It's always awesome. By the way, I'll actually disagree with him that these are even akin. These are not akin. Okay, judgments based on height are arbitrary assignments of attractive value.
Lois, can I keep the little person, Peter?
No, that's too much work.
I don't think there's anything arbitrary to the idea that you would prefer to date or marry somebody who is not sexually promiscuous. That's a reflection of underlying values that are going to have consequences for your marriage and for how you raise your kids. I mean, again, I don't think that there's anything inexplicable about the idea that men tend to be attracted more to women who have not slept with an extraordinary number of men. Alrighty, folks. So it's worth watching the Whatever podcast if you wish to see sort of the state of modern feminism and what many young women actually believe about the world and what we have done as a culture to destroy the minds and the souls of so many young people. It's really disheartening. So there's that. Very depressing stuff.
So true, funny how it seems